May 7th, 2007. This is Diehard Gamer Radio, episode 25.
You are approaching the target of attack. Your mission starts now. Are you ready? The countdown begins. 3, 2, 1, go!
You are listening to Diehard Gamer Radio, the source for off-mainstream video game news and topics. And now, your hosts, Murdock, Brian, John, and Steve.
Just a couple more shots.
Believe it! True believers!
It's like 1/4 of 100 or something.
Yes.
So if we got a
wow,
penny
public
for each
school paid off for
podcast that
you.
we did,
We'd be almost halfway to a pop.
More
Yeah.
public school action.
we'd be quarternaires.
Quarternaires.
Quarternaires. That's like a penny arcade term.
Yes, quarternaires.
Something I expect out of Tycho's mouth.
Quarternaires.
So,
This is a word I'm copywriting.
yes. So welcome back to Diehard Gamer Radio. I am Murdock, and always I have Brian, John, and Steve.
It's not always.
Well,
Usually.
nine,
A majority
but 80,
of the time.
85% of the
On
time.
average.
More than a quarternaire time.
On average, I have with me. More often than not, I have.
On a fortnight.
Yes.
Once in a blue moon after a Tuesday evening.
Yes. So we're going to go straight to our gaming news. And the first news bit, Xbox 360 Elite Street Date broken.
Say that 4 times fast.
Elite Beat 8. Wait, no.
So
No,
when
that's
is
a later
Xbox
on.
360 Elite Beat Agents broken.
No.
This box will
It
dance
took
for
me
you.
forever to get that VG Cats cartoon about Elite Beat Agents. Did you see that one?
Or it just goes like, screw you.
No, it's-
Never call us again.
Yeah, it's the one where like it's got Hitler and he's sitting there and it's got my final solution and he can't finish it, so he picks up the phone and calls, and then the cats are the beat agents, elite beat agents, and they're like, and they close.
So, yeah, not a big surprise. I think it was Target that broke the street date.
Actually, somebody got their hands on one prior to that and sold it on eBay last week, so
When
Target's
is
just
the
probably the
actual
first
street
major
date?
retailer.
What now?
When is the actual street date anyway?
Sometime this month, I think.
Yeah.
I would swear it's like in another week or two.
Not that it matters. Street date's broken. I mean, they can turn around and sell it now.
Well, yeah, but if like if Target goes ahead and does that, usually there's contractual agreements, and everything where they get to pay dollars for having fucked everything up.
I know that's big on Nintendo, but I don't know how much Microsoft pursues that, or if they will.
Yeah,
maybe not.
Nintendo's the only one I've ever seen that actually went after somebody and charged them and forced them to pay dollars for it. So
Yeah, Nintendo's always
I'm
been
sure as
real-
long as Microsoft makes some money off it, somehow they're going to be okay.
I mean, look at the
but who knows?
PS3 street date was broken in Europe by some little game shop in Italy like a week before it was supposed to happen, and nothing happened with that. So
Yeah, but it's Europe, so it doesn't really count.
yeah, Europe's not
so-
official.
It's Europe, so it didn't really happen.
Yeah,
Those poor bastards.
yeah, but I was saying that Nintendo's always been a stickler for street dates. They've been more picky than most. Moving on, next news, Ken Kutaragi steps down from his position at Sony.
You mean he was asked to step down?
Yes.
He resigned.
He was retired.
It really is
in
a
the Japanese
sad
sense of the
day.
word.
It really is a sad day for bad video game quotes.
It is. But I'm sure that there will be more Sony executives that will step into his shoes and firmly put their feet in their mouth.
Exactly.
He left his shoes in his office so someone else could step in them and swallow them.
Yes.
Yes.
These shoes are mighty big, but I have faith in future
They're
presidents.
also shiny black, attracts thumbprints, and cost like $600.
And do massive damage.
Yes.
They do.
Came from
They're-
some dead reptile.
They attack weak points.
Yes.
So,
He also left a George Foreman grill on his desk.
yeah. And then there was a rumor that Nintendo was interested in picking
that was
up
a
Ken
cigar box.
Kutaragi. And I'm like,
Why?
Until somebody asked Nintendo about it, and then they said, no.
that's why I said it was a
That's why it's called a rumor, yes.
So, moving on. Next news, Gyakuten Saiben, or Phoenix Wright, live-action TV drama announced for Japan. So they play a live-action court drama, and you, the viewer, get to solve the case.
Well, I'm sure it'll be just as realistic as CSI.
Maybe more so.
It'll be more entertaining than CSI.
Depends on how much
come
luminol
on.
is involved.
You don't want to watch a sort of not really realistic investigative drama 3 different times in different cities?
CSI Boise.
Yeah.
Who killed these potatoes?
A lot like CSI Miami.
Yeah. Which is a lot like CSI.
Down to the palmy trees.
Yeah.
Like, this is Boise, and there's palm trees. Yes, well, let me tell you why. There'll be a CG zoom in of something.
Yes, and
They're mysterious potato hybrids.
He'll have like a little vial and a little like scraper thing to scrape something off of the palm tree.
yeah. Well, according to the date on these tubers, you were at the crime scene.
Here's how do you know? Well, we've sprayed this potato with luminol.
Somebody shoved a potato in their hard drive. He was downloading the tubers.
All right, next. That broke it.
This ruined it. This is Brian's last podcast ever.
Oh, man, it's going to be sad to see you go.
Man, I got to whip some more out then, I guess. I got 1 million of them, I tell you. No respect around here, no respect. Next.
Brian does not have a tie to adjust when he says
Yes. What was it, Rodney Danger Dog? What was that movie with Rodney Dangerfield as a dog?
I don't know, but I think there was a pound puppy that was Rodney Dangerfield.
I think it was made right after Fern Gully.
I think it was ironic when the pound puppies got really unpopular because then there was a lot of fake dogs that nobody wanted.
Really hurt the Hong Kong market.
It did. Well, it hurt the restaurants that cooked plush dogs.
Yeah.
It hurt like the Easy Bake Oven market.
Rover's going to be cooked well done at 110 watts.
Yes. Rover Draggy.
So next up, Treasure, working on a new action game. That's all the details we have.
That's all we need.
Why did they even bother to put out a press release?
Because Treasure does not make a lot of games.
Even companies that do. I mean, it's retarded when you see the Capcom list, and like 2/3 of it is new action game number 2, new survival horror game,
New action game 3, new action game X.
It looks like an EB shipping manifest.
Yeah, it does. But it's pretty special when Treasure's like making a new, hopefully intellectual property, but we'll see.
Well, maybe it'll be a sequel too. Maybe it'll be a picture of a duck.
It will be a picture of duck.
Yeah, the most intense duck you'll ever play.
An action duck. Action mallard.
So, moving on, Karos, or Karos, Couscous, rumored to be in development for the Wii. The shooter who made by was it Milestone?
Shmup. Yeah.
Milestone made Rattle G for the Dreamcast, and then ported that to the GameCube, and now
coming to the U.S. is Radio Allergy.
Yes, which is short for Rattle G is. That's the short.
Only turned into English.
Well, and the game still hasn't come out yet. It's now June that they're saying when this game's coming out. It's like, dude, by the time it comes out,
System's going to be dead.
Yeah.
Oh, wait.
The system has been dead. But at least you can Wii compatible.
Yeah. Problem with Karos is nobody's going to be able to buy it here because it's probably going to be import only, so it won't matter.
Yeah, that's true.
Is Karos an anime?
No,
it's just a game.
Yeah.
Just a shmup.
Huh.
It's not an ordinary shmup, though. You go through acquiring points by using different weapons to attack enemies, so it's not a standard shmup either. It's kind of a strategic shmup.
So, next up, Queens of the Stone Age, first band announced for Guitar Hero 3.
And nobody cares because the Queens suck.
What the hell's that all about?
You know, I watched the Queens open for 9 Inch Nails here about 2 years ago.
I was at that
and
concert.
there was another band that was a local unknown band that was better than them.
Was it Audio something?
Yeah.
Audio Vox.
I don't.
Their drummer
I
rocked.
think AudioLax is a software package actually. But
Well, point
It
being,
was
they
something
just
like that.
sucked. They
Well, I
they
could've told
utterly
that.
sucked, and I don't understand what the point of. I will admit they have a couple of their songs have some pretty mean riffs.
Maybe
The
they're better with
guitars are just crazy,
post-processing.
but I think that's the only reason behind it.
Hmm.
I'm sure
That and they
there's-
were,
I mean,
complete dicks to the audience. Whereas, Nine Inch Nails comes up and they're like, "Oh, we love you."
How do you
Yes,
be
but it was
complete
a
dicks
false
to the
love.
audience? I mean, they came out there and played songs, right?
Well, yeah.
Did they do it
they're
spitefully?
supposed to pretend to love you.
Yeah.
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 I'll be sure to tell that
Thank
to
you,
Guar
meal
next time we
tickets.
see
Good
him.
night. Oh,
Yeah. I wasn't feeling the love, but then again, I wasn't feeling much with all the, smoke, all the puffs of smoke and, the smell of
guys-
pot everywhere.
Yeah, those guys smoking pot about 2 rows in front of us.
So,
Yeah, welcome to a concert.
yeah. Next up, Disgaea 3, rumored for PS3.
That's
3 for
pointless.
3.
Yeah.
So we'll have really high-resolution, true HD sprites.
Good job, guys. Good job.
Well,
Do you know how many polygons it takes to make a sprite? Oh, wait.
Oh wait.
One.
Yeah.
Maybe 2 if
Trick
you have
question,
to make it
I
out
think.
of triangles.
They're going to make sprites out of hexagons.
Yeah, so that seems pretty pointless.
Yeah.
I mean, PS2, just fine.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah.
So, next up, Card Fighters DS has a game-breaking glitch. Now,
Yeah,
here's
unbelievable.
So here's the deal. So almost immediately after the US DS version was released, an unavoidable bug was discovered within the game. The bug occurs on the 9th floor on the tower during the second playthrough. The game crashes after talking to an opponent named John, and you need to fight him in order to finish the game.
And collect some cards that there's no
Yeah.
other way to get.
In the official SNK Play More USA forum, a SNK official addressed this problem and said they were investigating the issue, which means
They were actually
nothing.
playing through the game.
So
Yeah.
this is actually the second DS game I know of then that has a glitch that prevents you from ever beating it.
Yeah, was it Bust a Move?
Yeah,
Was it you can't get past level 30?
because the boss never shows up in the one level.
Yeah. That's awesome.
I was going to gum, and then I was like lazy, and then I didn't take a shower, and I didn't make it to the level in time. Sorry. So
So what does that seal of quality mean again?
squadoo.
Well, it's called, maybe we should have play tested this.
Yeah.
Play
At
testing.
least once.
Well,
Oh.
apparently twice for this one. But
Although I'm beginning to think that with the DS being so popular, I think they're just trying to push these games out as quickly as possible and aren't completely bug testing them as they should.
Hey, we're
Nintendo's
upgraded to
dropping the ball.
2600.
Yeah,
yeah, and where's the 2600 now? Well,
in a garage. That's where it is.
that and a flood of games that were just
in a
utter
garage,
crap.
all alone,
Yes,
in a dingy cardboard box.
yes.
Outlived by its elder brother, the 7800.
Well, it's sitting on
I
top
guess
of
it'll be
it.
the younger
Sitting
brother.
on top of it.
in the
Yeah.
box.
They're
So-
both leaning
I don't think you
against
can
a
put anything
television.
on top of that because it had that odd console thing on the back where it was at an angle, the big prong button switch thing. Yeah.
Well, unfortunately, on top of it is an old wagon.
Yes.
That's no longer a problem.
Yeah, next to the hoop to hoop and
Yes.
hula hoop and
the boingy ball.
boingy ball. Yeah.
Yes. Oh, where's my
Toys of
bouncy
yesteryear.
where's my 2600 Mom? Oh, it's just right next to the toss across. And-
Yes. It's by the lawn darts.
Look under your box of operation.
Yes. It's right next to the ZX Spectrum.
Yes.
So, moving on, our last bit of news: decapitated goat for God of War 2 release party. Now, here's the deal with the whole
That's
decapitated
so
goat
blown
thing.
out of proportion.
Here's what it is. So Sony recently staged a goat sacrifice in honor of their PlayStation 2 game, God of War 2, and this was in Europe. Complete with fur outfits, topless women.
Oh no, fur outfits.
Yes. Topless Women, Blood, and Entrails.
A party that I might add was for less than 20 journalists by invite only.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sony representatives did not decapitate the goat at the party. Instead, they purchased a pre-decapitated goat for the event.
Is there a website for that?
Yes.
I was like,
Can you register that domain?
Yes.
Pre-decapitated goat.
decapitated goat.
And it'll just have
All right,
people
let's do it.
dancing badly, forcing you to buy a PSP. And a Sony spokesman said that the animal had not been slaughtered for the event, but had been bought from a local butcher by the Greek company hired to stage the promotional stunt. Bonus points include the warm intestines was actually warm offal. OFFAL.
What are you talking about for that one? I mean,
There was a bowl of intestines that was sitting up there also, like they had gutted it, but it wasn't actually intestines. But nobody got to touch any of it or do anything with it, so it was just for show. It was
and they serve soup, I think. Goat
soup. It was.
What kind of soup do you serve with a decapitated goat? What's the recipe for that?
I don't know, but the domain is not registered.
Wow.
Yeah.
We should pick that one up post-haste.
We should. That's
decapitedgoat.com.
Yeah, I'm sure some druids or
I'm
some
surprised
other
that,
religion will come to knocking your door at some point.
There was
My master requests we buy your domain.
A death metal band that would slaughter goats on stage in Australia, I think.
Huh.
I'm surprised they didn't.
I would think there'd be some health regulation problems with that one, but maybe
I think
Australia
somebody
has
objected, but Australia's too busy, extraditing people for breaking laws not in their country. So
apparently, you've never been to a DRI concert. Dirty Rotten Imbeciles, where they sit in a circle and jerk off, and whoever finishes last is eat the crackers they jerk onto. Yeah, not your normal concert, but obviously not a big consideration.
Do they play their instruments while doing that? Or
no, it's during one of their songs, but
well, who's playing that?
I don't know how it works. I didn't go to the concert. It just came from a friend of mine, and she said it was a rather creative concert, but
doesn't sound like
not one
concert.
from everybody.
It sounds more like 14-year-olds entertaining themselves.
I don't know.
Sleepover.
It is a sleepover.
I mean, maybe it works for them. They got a career, apparently.
Were they saltines? Can you please describe the crackers?
Were they saltines?
Did it matter?
They were graham.
Were they rich and buttery Ritz?
No, but rich in protein, apparently.
It's kind of nasty all around, though.
It's funny you say all around because they sit in a circle.
Well, they sound pretty nasty.
Yeah, their music wasn't great, but
well,
they were popular in the late 80s, early 90s.
Time to play.
Everyone needs a hook,
I
I
hear
guess.
session musicians all the time because they're too busy doing other stuff on stage to play.
Well,
I'm glad we got to that topic.
yeah, that's why I saved it for last.
Yeah, to get off of that, the best comment I saw about the decapitated goat was from a vegetarian who was saying, you're eating goat soup. It's not really any different than having a decapitated goat there that's going to go back to the store and get turned into goat soup.
Indeed. I have no
Yay for
problems with
vegetarians.
Yeah. Leaves more meat for us. So, moving
goat
on.
Soup seems kind of odd.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
Who wants
Game
meat?
topics. Game topics.
Yeah.
Game topics.
So,
Game topics.
We don't have any of those.
yes.
We got two of them. What are you talking about?
So, like Brian was singing.
Game topics.
Thank you. I'm glad you showed up, falsetto man.
Well, I was in the neighborhood.
Yeah, as long as it's not Castrati Boy.
No, that's his sidekick.
Yeah.
Falsetto man and castrati boy.
There's a
Excuse me, I'm going to have to get my game topics.
There's a webcomic.
Yeah, no doubt.
So we're going to go to our game topics, and our first topic is why are games getting shorter, or are they getting shorter?
I don't know. They got longer than the Michael Crichton one, so I think that's like the bottom of the bell curve right there.
Okay. Before we continue, please describe for the audience the Michael Crichton game you were talking about.
I really can't. All I know about it is that it was about 20 minutes long.
Wikipedia to the rescue.
Yeah,
Michael
keep talking.
Crichton
I'll
video
look up. I'll look up Michael Crichton video game, and you guys keep talking.
Well,
Otherwise,
games
we're
aren't
just gonna
exactly
get a comment back telling us what it was next week.
games aren't exactly getting any less costly to make. So,
Well, what do you mean by shorter? I mean, I can't remember the last game I played that wasn't an arcade port that could stand there for an hour and feed quarters into.
Well, what about games like? I mean, there is a general consensus online that they're saying. Hey,
I like the sound of that.
Just
Let's talk for the general masses. Can we say something else for them? It'd be kind of fun.
No, quiet you.
I'll play the part of the masses.
Okay. What do the general masses think of violence in video games?
Well, actually, my local RPG was only 29 hours this time around. It should have been 105.
Well, that's exactly what they're saying.
Yeah, that's what I figured
this
you were
means
going with.
The general masses are dumb.
Yeah.
Yeah, they
Solid.
don't. They have too much free time all of a sudden because they beat their RPG quicker than predicted, and
Or the general masses, we criticize you.
We scoff at your ability to play games all day for a week.
There's
get alive.
there's no entry on Wikipedia for that video game. The only thing it is under Michael Crichton under computer games that says it was received and sold poorly. let me do some more searching.
Period. End of sentence. End of topic.
What is it, Michael Crichton Tycoon?
It doesn't even have a title?
No, it's called Timeline.
Yeah, that was
after the Timeline novel.
That was the book that he wrote. Yeah,
So basically, it takes longer to read the novel than. It
and
does
there
to
was
play
a
the
movie
game.
based on that too. Come to think of it, very crappy movie. So it apparently followed suit.
So, trying to get back on the topic. So,
Derailed!
Derailed.
yeah. So, I mean, are games in general getting shorter? I mean, is this even an issue?
Pick a genre.
Well, okay. Well, like RPGs, that seems to be.
As RPGs are generally the ludicrously long genre, right?
Yeah.
So you've got an average one that takes like 60 to 80 hours to beat if you want to go and poke around through all the corners.
Mm-hmm.
Last one I played took 60 hours too.
Well, what about like action adventure games like God of War 2 or Tomb Raider? You think those are, because I remember that like NES games, especially the platform games, usually took like forever.
Well, that was because they were also hard.
Yeah.
Well, we're getting to that.
It seemed
There was
like
a lot of
forever.
game there. You just died every 30 seconds and had to restart.
Remember Magician
the level.
Lord for the Neo Geo? That was a very hard game that took a long time to beat.
It wasn't that hard.
Well, it was hard enough, especially when you're younger. I don't care how quick your reaction is, you still die.
Well, okay. So far, I found out that you can still buy this game on Amazon.
Wow.
It was
What's the
published by
buy price?
Eidos.
Oh,
Mark of quality.
Eidos sucks.
Well, there's two.
Well,
the 25 used and new available for $1.
Wow.
Wow.
That is 99 cents too much.
It will not run an XP apparently. Even though it was a 98 game.
What is it, a DOS game?
That might play into why it was
No,
so
it
poorly
was,
received. It couldn't be played.
Well, it was put out in like 2000, so
XP
Yeah,
wasn't out yet.
and 2000 wasn't really ever considered a great gaming system. So
The book is like 6 to 10
it was
years
95
old. So
ME 98. Well, if you buy the game, you get the book.
the only benefit to that is the book is actually pretty good. The game just sucked nuts, but
I remember that being an incredibly violent and gory book. They seem to be just like killing people left and right.
Michael Crichton is not shy on violence. Tells it like it is, lays it down.
Yeah,
Or like it was.
Here's
that too.
a thing for part of a review for it on justadventures.com or justadventure.com. It says about halfway through the review, it says halfway about through the game, or in gaming terms, 30 minutes later.
Solid.
Yeah.
Moving right along.
So is there like 20 screens in the whole game here?
I don't know, but
So basically we're saying for this topic is that games are about the same length, just with technology we don't have to use the same backgrounds
Well,
like 50 times.
Yeah, if anything, I'd say the games just have less repetition now.
Well, people
Yeah.
are also, companies are being forced to be more creative. They can't just recycle stuff and extend the length of a game that way.
Or
can't
when they
just
do,
have
they
Simon
get rated
Belmont
down
do
for
it.
Yeah.
it because people realize it's boring.
Yeah, and reviews mean, I think, even more so now than they ever did before.
You think so?
I think so. I think reviews play a big part. I mean, you look at Australia's reviews, they have a huge review system, but it's actually bought by companies. That's how important it is to these companies. They want to go in there and guarantee a game sells well. So even if their game sucks, they go in and buy out some reviewer or some reporter, get them to report on it and say, yes, this was a good game, just to guarantee their game sales.
They do the same thing here in the
States. Well, they advertise here, but they can't legally go buy anybody. I mean, it's just a matter of
legally. It's just, it kind of looks poorly on your reputation.
Yeah, well, look at what PlayStation or Sony did with that PSP website, and they got caught in that, and they, just one more
really buying somebody out. That was just being kind of deceptive.
No, but I mean that was just seems to be the length of their deception here. You don't see them buying people out, and they try and get on good sides with companies or magazines by buying huge amounts of ad space, but.
Or putting out their own magazine.
Yeah, that's probably the easiest way is to go buy your own magazine.
Yeah. Well,
Nintendo Power.
But see, with the
ad in every single game you buy.
I think a big part of this too is now everybody's on the internet. Everybody's able to get a review quickly or post something, and there's no easy way around buying a bad game.
So now developers are forced to have to listen to the
developers, creators, programmers, everybody is forced to a higher standard, and they can't make a crappy game. So,
and of course,
in essence, they're making shorter games maybe now because they can't just repeat stuff and extend it. They have to.
So they would rather make a shorter game which has a high amount of quality as opposed to a longer game.
Some developers have actually said that. They've specifically said, we made a shorter game, but we've made a really high quality. What substance is in the game is amazing, and it looks so good that we didn't feel the need to.
You mean like Gears of War? Because I hear Gears of War is actually pretty short.
It's somewhat short, but you can also go through and play it multiplayer too.
Well, the thing with Gears of War is that it doesn't have the typical, building up to the end of the game. There's no build up. You don't really know that you're at the last boss of the game, and then you're done.
It just happens.
Yeah,
and it's like, what? Huh? Oh, end of the game.
You mean like what was that?
Guess I'll watch a movie or something.
Was it like a Big Red one that you played? It took like a week to get to the final level.
Oh, no, I got to the final level. It was getting across the Siegfried line, which was apparently harder to do in this game than it was in real life.
Welcome to the war, son.
Shoot behind it, huh?
No, apparently not.
But yeah, Gears also offers other things. So there's multiplayer. There's also multiplayer maps that have just been recently up for download. So there's a lot more to that game than just the single player. I wouldn't hold that game and say that it's just a short game because it offers so much more.
Well, there's more stuff you can do with it, but I mean, overall, it does fit into the mold of like a maybe 15-hour game. That's
Well, let's define what a short game is. Is 15 hours short for an action game?
I would say so. For spending $60 on it, I would want at least 30 hours of gameplay out of it.
But you're saying just individual play.
Because you want 30 hours? I mean...
Well, I want to get them.
I can get 30 hours out of that if I add the multiplayer. I
totally got my money's worth out of Gears. No questions asked.
And you also unlock stuff in that game only by going through it on all three modes. So you're getting more than that 15 hours out of it easily, I'd say. At least the diehard gamer is.
And I don't know about you, but how much time do you spend gaming every day these days?
Yeah, I don't think I have that much time anymore. I have very little time compared to when I was a kid.
It's going to take me a month to play.
Huh?
Murdock's going to take the fifth on this one.
Yeah. What's a controller?
Are you like a geek or something? Did you spend all your time playing video games?
No, I spend all my time trying to perfect a barrel roll.
No, he spends all his time editing podcasts.
that much is true.
Totally not a geek then. Way cool.
Solid. But, after I beat the game, I called up one of my friends and said, hey, John and we need to go through and play Gears together because we can co-op this, and it's so much more fun playing two players.
Too bad you couldn't have done that the first time around. Then you wouldn't have to deal with Dom.
Yeah. Nothing is as dumb as Dom.
If only we had known beforehand.
I've played this game online with 3 or 4 people in multiplayer, and it's just such a fun game.
But for people like me who hate playing with other people, 15 hours just
doesn't
seems
play
kind of
well with others.
Yeah, 15 hours just seems kind of a waste.
Because
but you also
never
play
pay $50 for a shooter that you can beat in an hour.
Oh, I can't beat them in an hour.
Oh, no, because you have to keep playing the same levels over and over until you get good enough to do it, even though there's only an hour worth of gameplay in the entire game. totally a reasonable value for the money.
I think he got you on that one.
Yeah, probably. I can't argue that.
I think it's
You're
just
asking the wrong guy here because I play MMOs. So yeah.
Where you pay $15 and get a lifetime of hours.
Yes, indeed. You get a lifetime of. Oh, I have to play some more to get that.
you're paying slowly, but you
Yeah.
enjoy it.
Indeed.
Well,
Although I tell you, that's like 2 burgers that I don't buy a month. So.
If anything, it's more healthy.
Yeah.
yes, you could.
Well,
I
if
don't know
anything,
about
it keeps
that. The
me from getting
lifestyle
bored and going
choice.
on to buy stuff more expensive.
The lifestyle choice for playing MMOs is probably even more unhealthy than the lifestyle choice of buying 2 burgers.
He didn't go out and buy 2 burgers. No, he had pizza delivered.
Yeah. What? Wait a minute.
Was
you
it?
eat?
Was it?
If you eat, you might get ganked. What are you
If
talking
you're
about?
a true MMO, you have a pile of boxes from weeks and weeks past, along with multiple
man.
cans.
You can't spare the time to pick up the phone or even order online. You flip over there, some horde guy's going to come along and and you're dead. And you're like, oh.
Correct me if
Isn't
I'm
that why
wrong,
you
but
got
can't
Slash
you?
pizza now?
Yeah, can't you order pizza on Warcraft? Isn't
Yeah.
there some way to
Is
do
there-
that while you're playing the game?
That's what
I seem to remember reading that.
I don't know. I've never come across it, but maybe.
one of the chat one of the chat
I
commands.
swear it was
I
like
don't know.
Pizza Hut or Domino's or something
Well,
that hooked
shit,
up with that.
I got Warcraft installed on this thing, so let me see.
What Slash pizza does.
Wizard needs food.
On a pizza in no time.
Do I have Warcraft still installed on this? Oh, I do.
Would you like to use this chemical or buy a pizza?
And there was the
Heal,
quality
heal.
April Fool's thing for the Pandaren Express. That
Yeah.
was great.
Yeah. Of course, now you get a pizza from Warcraft. It's going to be delivered by a furry.
It's going to be delivered by it's delivered by Flying Mount.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you have to hope for Night Elf and not Tauren.
Yeah.
Hey, is that custom armor out there in your car?
Yeah. Can I,
Cost me $40 for this mod, man.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
while Steve is doing the Warcraft,
let's move on to the other topic.
Yeah. Our next
Oh
topic.
man, downloading update.
It's gonna be a while.
Oh man.
No, we're on broadband here. We should be okay.
I think you underestimate how big World of Warcraft
Yeah,
updates
I
are.
don't think you understand how big the
They're
updates
distributed
are.
by BitTorrent.
Their updates are like the size of small games.
They are.
Size of big games sometimes.
Well, you can download Burning Crusade. You can buy it and download it offline. It comes on like 4 CDs.
They don't offer it on a DVD version?
Well, they have 4 CDs versions, but it's like, if you don't want to bother with the traditional media, you just want to download it offline and install it, you're waiting a while.
They
You could
give
drive
you
to
a-
the store and buy it and come back, and it'd be faster.
Yeah.
You could wait till tomorrow, then drive to the store, buy it, and come back. The BitTorrents are pretty fast, but nobody's got a connection that fast. So
Yeah.
I do, but
It's because they're all at home. They
16
don't work.
meg down. Woo!
So, moving on to our next game topic, we're going to discuss the most difficult games we've ever played. Brian, do you want to start with the most difficult game you've
tough
ever
one.
played? I will guess right now that everyone will probably say R-Type, so we'll just...
R-Type was pretty.
It was up there, yeah. I remember some of the Contras were just incredibly hard. The one on the Genesis was just god-awful.
Contra Hardcore? Oh.
I think they did that on purpose. I
they
think
did.
it was just a game made to torture you.
Well,
They told you they were hardcore.
yeah, they weren't fooling.
well, the Japanese version allows your character to get 3 hits before dying. American version, 1 hit, you're dead.
yeah,
So the
we don't follow
Japanese
that
version was
3-hit
like
pussy
5
version.
times high, 5 times easier.
Well, 3 times easier.
Well, yeah.
Didn't it seem to be in the old days that when the games came overseas to us, we made them easier? I seem to remember certain NES games and Super NES games being that way, that we kind of...
No, I think they just made them less Nazi-like.
No.
Well, yeah, the crosses and blood obviously were changed, but...
I don't think it was that. I think the games were developed in Japan, and then when they came over here, they actually went through more bug testing when it was localized. It's like, oh, well, there was some balance issue here, so let's fix it. And then when we got it, we didn't necessarily get an easier version. We just got a more fair and balanced version.
Well, there's been exceptions to that, too. I mean, when we got Tenchu over here, we actually fixed it. before it came to our market. It was fixed by Acclaim, I think it was. Or Acclaim or Atari, that whoever got their hands on it, they went through and edited it because there was problems with turning corners and being able to see through walls and connecting to certain things. And we did such a good job, apparently, on fixing the game that the Japanese re-imported it to Japan because it was a better version, and people bought it up again. And
yeah, I remember that. But
well, at least if it's got a cute mascot and comes with a cell phone fob.
Talking about a witching game?
So, other than the Contra hardcore game,
there was a lot of old games were pretty hard. I mean, back in the day, you look at Ghosts and Goblins, and it's just like, oh my god.
Yeah, the Ghosts and Goblins series were ungodly difficult.
When that re-released out here, when they did that updated version, it was so much easier. Yeah, I loved it on the PSP, and I was able to get to the end of it on the PSP. That game is just, it's hard, but it's a lot easier than it was when I was playing it in high school.
Well, I think we're just better gamers than we were in high school.
Well, they did a few things to alter it, too. I mean, you couldn't fire upwards in the old game. And
the best place to log in.
It was just made harder. I think games just were on the edge back then. They didn't have the ability to do the cool things, and just making the games for the first time, they were much harder. Nowadays, we've got all the abilities to change things 8-way directions. You know, they've learned over years and years of gaming that they can fix things and make them easier. But
yeah, I was just thinking that Contra Shattered Soldier for the PlayStation 2 was like ultra
that wasn't
hard.
Too bad. Not as bad as Hardcore. Shattered Soldier was beatable. Hardcore was just like throwable.
Well,
you
fundamentally
pulled it out
speaking, too, I mean, with games these days, now when they kill you, they don't get another quarter. They kind of like reduce the reward for making games suck.
And some games, well, I'd say a large percentage of games back in the day, too, were based on arcade ports, too, so they were based on the assumption that, you could throw another quarter in. There was hardly any translation done to the home system. Like, you'd hit the start button, and it was the equivalent of putting another quarter in. You know?
Well, it's like Karateka or something like that, where like, okay, you're going to spend like $400 figuring out how to play this game before you're any good at it.
Well,
like, oh wait, game's over.
Playing this game was like karate in real life.
Yeah, except more confusing.
Yeah, and more costly.
It's the first Street Fighter.
Well,
it's like, wait a minute, it doesn't have any buttons. What the hell?
You got to think with your chi.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my
fighting is like driving a tank. Thanks a lot.
Well, I will agree that some of the early arcade games were made hard on purpose just for, quarter crunching,
Oh, yeah, there was definitely money to be made there, but I think some, too, people were just doing it for the first time, and they didn't have any way to make games better. The game was
They just made it so that they could get more money off it.
Yeah. It's possible.
Solid pattern for them. I mean, you get to play for about, 3 to 5 minutes, and, generally pretty easy, skate along, get to have some fun, and they start killing you every minute.
Hey, you should know how to play this by now, so we're going to turn it up a notch.
You've already got this time invested in it.
Yeah.
So
hey, you dropped $1.50.
You got to go through that all again.
Perennial example, R-Type.
If you walk away now, you've lost $1.50, but if you hang on, you may just get out of this with some money left.
Actual results may vary. So, John, do you have any ungodly hard games that you've ever played? And you cannot say Power Shovel.
That wasn't that hard.
Wasn't that hard. Yeah. I mean, you had to figure out how to drive a Power Shovel, but,
Tractors are not that hard to drive.
You probably just whizzed through that game.
I was driving tractors when I was 9, man. It's not that hard of a game.
Because I mean, the thing with that one is that there's a lot of good games that are hard, but if they're good, they keep giving you some reward for it, and there's definitely a build-up in skill, and you can feel yourself getting better.
So there's a reason to go through it.
Yeah, like Ninja Gaiden
just torture.
Devil May Cry are two of the recent ones that have had a really hard difficulty level to them, but there were still good games behind it. The hard games that really suck are the ones that you just play for an hour or two and you just give up on the fuckers.
Not only that, but you're like, sucks. My God, why did I even pick this up?
Any games that we can use as an example for that?
Shinobi is the one that comes to mind as just being pain.
Oh, Shinobi!
God, I love Shinobi.
On the PlayStation 2?
Yeah.
Yeah, that game's really, really hard.
It was just
it's frustrating hard.
They weren't incredibly easier in the older days either.
Time for not good reasons,
apparently
Let's make you restart the entire level because you fell in the hole. Oh, great. Let's do it again.
The /pizza command was for EverQuest 2.
I knew it was some MMO.
There was
no pizza for you.
No, there's a thing here where it said order Chinese food from within World of Warcraft, but it was an April Fool's thing on joystick.
Yeah, it's the Pandaren Express thing.
Yeah. The
Boy, that'd be a
when you
gold
type
mine.
/pizza in World of Warcraft, it just says you are hungry.
I will say this for World of Warcraft. I've never played it, but the programmers are pretty funny. They have a pretty good sense of humor.
Things in it.
Well, you'd hope so with however many hundreds of people are working on the goddamn
millions,
How
actually.
much money are they making off this damn thing?
It prints money.
I'm really hoping that there's going to be some sort of StarCraft MMO.
World of StarCraft.
The only other one that we have
It's
with
coming
people
out.
running around and doing, like sci-fi stuff is Anarchy Online, and well, that game sucks.
Yeah.
So,
Not as bad as Neocron.
well, yeah, they're neck and neck. Because I tried playing Anarchy Online 3 times since it came out, and every time I'm like, oh, fuck this.
But you only tried playing Neocron once before you knew it was bad.
So, yeah.
Speaking of hard
That's
games,
Yeah,
That game wasn't even hard. That game was stupid.
World of StarCraft, everyone's going to play Zerg.
the Zerglings can rush.
Yeah, well, there's some. I mean, Walker was saying that all the press release stuff and rumors he's been seeing have been pretty much indicating that it'll be some sort of StarCraft MMO.
Well, yeah,
Whether
that's
it'll
where the
be
big
like
money's
a
at.
3D MMO, or if it'll be like some weird 3D/RTS MMO. I don't know. I'd rather it not because I'm not a big RTS fan, but whatever.
They just need to make it a World of Warcraft expansion. You go through a portal, you end up there.
Yeah, it's like Rifts.
Fighting some Marines.
It's the MMO Rifts. That would be kind of cool, actually.
Yeah.
What we need is a standardized character XML format that you can transport from MMO to MMO.
Yeah, great. You're going to have Stargates everywhere.
Yes. You already do in Warcraft.
Stargate the MMO.
All right. So, back on topic. So you said Shinobi as a frustratingly hard gaming experience.
Yeah.
Anything else? And you cannot say Teinohara Resort.
Skate or Die was kind of hard.
Skate or Die was the arcade one, or the
the Commodore 64 one was pretty hard.
yeah. Well, yeah, the NES one was actually kind of hard. The original Metal Gear
I
on
think
the
it's the only
NES.
Metal Gear I've ever played.
Oh, wow. I haven't thought about that in
I
a long
remember that
time.
just because the strategy guide for it was freaking huge.
Oh yeah. Or well, there's games that are on the whole hard, and then there's a level in a game that's hard, like every water level in every Zelda game. Or I would say most of the water levels, because
Was there a water level in the first Zelda game?
no.
Well,
Well,
I was trying to remember. I'm like, was there a?
I think it was only not even in the sequel. I think
No,
it was like
I
the
think
third
all
Link's
the wa-
Awakening. and
all the water levels started with Zelda 3, and that water temple was pretty easy. But then after that, Ocarina of Time and the water level was like a pain in the ass, and then every subsequent water level after that just sucks. But I can only think of R-Type as being really hard. But Ninja Gaiden, all of
Ninja
them.
Gaidens were hard, but they were fun hard. I still enjoy. It was
You know-
hard, but I got the pattern down. I still enjoyed the games.
After a while, the difficulty kind of annoys me because I want to get to the point where I actually want to, get further in the game. But sometimes the difficulty, being hard for hard's sake just pisses me off.
Well, I think certain crowds appreciate that, though. I mean, you look at the early Shinobis, even like the 3 on the Genesis, even the 1 on the Saturn. They were all hard, but there was a certain amount of appreciation for that because you had to be better at the game. You loved the game, and you just had to be better at it. It was a mastery. I mean, you mastered that game, and you really came to appreciate just how cool a game it was. But it wasn't for everybody.
I'm not sure that's a good excuse for not putting an easy level in.
Well, I don't think. Well, yeah,
I mean,
I don't know if
I want it to be challenging, but I don't want it to be so challenging that it's frustrating and I don't want to play it.
Yeah,
which
I mean,
is
you
how I
want
got
it to
with
be right in that good zone.
Yeah,
right in
that's
the middle
which
where
is
you're
how I
having
felt
fun,
about
making progress, still
Ninja
trying.
Gaiden for the Xbox. It's like, well, it's a cool game. It's really pretty, but some of this is just really, really obnoxiously hard. And when it gets that hard, I get frustrated and I don't want to play it.
There were certain points in that game, I'll agree. But
Like
there was
all of them?
Well, yeah, but I came to
Like the
appreciate
first
how
boss?
cool that game was when I went into a room where I was trying to get to a treasure chest, and 2 guys popped up. I fought the 2 guys. I ran off the wall. I killed one guy. I ran up off the wall and hit another part of the wall, came back on I chopped the guy's head off while I'm running across the wall and opened the chest all at the same time. And I'm like, this is fucking brilliant. If you can just master the controls and think ahead on this game, you can do just about anything because this game is just that amazing. I mean, you were sitting there when we played it.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, did you see how cool that was?
But here's the thing. There were complaints about Ninja Gaiden on the Xbox that it was so hard that when Ninja Gaiden Black came out, they came out with an easy level because there were just so many problems with people playing it on its normal, you should be this good to play this game.
Yeah.
Well, and it wasn't even that like easy difficulty level in the Japanese version. They like removed it when they brought it over to the U.S.
That I'm not sure of.
I still have an open mind. I couldn't tell you.
But Devil May
got
Cry
the
is
same
also
complaints about that for DMC3, and then they did the special edition, and then they added an easy mode in there.
and of course, when that came out, people were complaining. It's like, well, how dare you play this on the easy level? How come you can't be elite like us other players who can beat it on
Maybe we play the game to have some fun, not to prove our.
Something.
Yeah,
These are
we're
just
not
some of the-
fairly ineffable, really.
Not the hardest. I remember now. The hardest game I ever played was Wizard and the Princess.
What system was that on?
The Commodore 64.
Ah.
It was one of the first 4 or 5 Sierra games ever made. And it was
Some of Sierra's games were hard.
It was C64 graphics ported from they developed an Apple II, so ported from an Apple II. And the hardest thing was you got okay after a while, and I guess it wasn't so much hard in skill level, it was more hard in how the hell would I know I had to do this type thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't like the bridle in King's Quest 4 where like if you weren't standing in exactly the right place in the lifeboat on the island, you couldn't pick it up because you couldn't see it on the screen. It was, all right, now you're in the desert and you have to get out. And you need to know the pattern to get out of the desert. There's no clues to get the pattern to get out of the desert. And you have to go like forward, right, left, forward, right, left, forward. And then you know you're on the right track because somewhere in the middle of it there's a snake. Like, oh.
That's just bad
Okay.
programming.
Well,
That's hard for the sake of bad programmer.
Well, I don't think
Yeah.
that's a bad programming thing. I think back
Bad
then
game
they just
design.
didn't
Maybe it's
have
bad
that
game design.
that game design. Like,
they were
now-
limited because they were doing it for the first time.
Yeah, I think so.
I think that just defines a lot of the earlier games.
Kinda.
It was just they were made hard not by choice, but just because people were doing it for the first time and they didn't really know what they could
Williams was making it up as she went.
Yeah. But with the hard games, do we see that certain genres have harder games than most? I mean,
do. Well, shmups, yes.
shmups seem to be the
The
perennial
Twitch
example.
games.
The Twitch games.
I mean, anything that's, based on reflexes and, inputting a lot of buttons in the right combination really quick, they're hard.
What about fighting games?
It's the same thing. It's still a Twitch game.
Well, I don't think it's as much with fighting games because I've seen 5-year-olds go in there and just smash a certain number of buttons so many
but
times and
smashing
win the
buttons
game.
does not take skill.
That does it.
Once
Button
again,
mashing is
Notwithstanding.
once again, Kilik is banned from the tournament.
So is Guile.
So is Eddie. So,
But because, anything that's, slower paced, the difficulty is different for him. Then it becomes more intellectual and, it's the kind of difficulty that can be overcome by a FAQ if you have to. But the Twitch games, if you're not good,
so
Not
anything
good.
that requires coordination,
Fast coordination.
because RPGs
reflexes.
selecting
Not a
choices
Twitch
from a
game.
menu,
Yeah.
not a lot of coordination.
And also, RPGs have a pretty inherent game mechanic where skill is just unimportant for them. And it's basically you trade time invested for abilities of your character. So no matter how bad you suck, you can just play it for longer, and you'll still win.
Well, it's not really an RPG. It's kind of RPG. Kind of, sort of. It's like a hybrid RPG because the Hero's Quest, the original Hero's Quest, you actually had to have some sort of combat ability because you actually fought the combat yourself.
Which means they stuck a Twitch game in the middle of their RPG, which made it harder. Yeah.
Yep. But you were better depending on because your stats still went up when you went up level and crap like that.
Okay.
I don't remember a whole lot about that because it got bugged at the end of it, and I could just walk through the hail of arrows and they didn't kill me.
Yeah. Well, at least Emily wasn't there to spoil the ending.
It's true.
Does she do that often?
Only for one game.
Only for Seventh Guest. Told me how the plot was going to end, and I was like, well, why am I going through all the puzzles now? Because I already know how it's going to end.
It's true.
And I had forgotten about that until she brought it up at some point, and I was like, yeah, that was pretty annoying.
Well, hang on to that grudge.
Yeah.
You might need it one.
Well, I hadn't at the time, and then I totally forgot about it. And it's like, oh yeah, he was really mad when I told him about that. I'm like going, damn it, I had forgotten all about that.
Let it go, Steve.
I can't. Even probably because 11th Guest or what
11th hour.
I don't think I ever played 11th hour.
You didn't miss much.
I think really
Pointless puzzles.
I think the point of 7th Guest was that it was pretty and it had puzzles.
Mm.
You know, after that you're like, wow, another game that's pretty that has puzzles.
Yeah.
It's called Phantasmagoria.
Yeah.
Kind of puzzles, sorta.
Yeah.
Super missed.
In name.
So
had like 7 CDs.
Yes.
That was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think Phantasmagoria 2 had like 12 or something. Something ridiculous.
I thought it had like one more than the first one.
I thought it had a couple more. I don't know. I don't remember.
Phantasmagoria was the first game I remember getting that came with a CD case to hold the discs for it.
I remember we couldn't sell that to anybody under 17 because it had a rape scene in it. Well, no, not that anybody bought it anyway.
Yeah, well, that's true.
Mostly because we were like, no, don't buy that game, it sucks.
Yeah. Yeah.
It was like one of the 2 games that we told people don't buy the game, it sucks. There's that one and Rise of the Robots.
Oh, God.
Like, well, I want to buy this. Well, I could sell that to you, but you're going to bring it back tomorrow. Just trust me on this.
Yeah.
You're saving yourself money and gas by putting it back on the shelf and finding some other fighting game.
Yeah, don't.
Let me show you a couple of good fighting games.
Yeah.
Just because it's got robots and fighting doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
In this case, totally not.
Generally, it doesn't mean it's good.
Yeah.
You have One Must Fall come to one of the download services.
One Must Fall.
Yeah.
Like
Don't buy Phantasmagoria. Here's a copy of Roger Wilco for you.
Space Quest.
I'm still sad
Or was it?
any more of those.
Was it?
The adventure game's really not like a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
they've had a little bit of a resurgence. There was like Longest Journey. That helped a lot.
plus, there's like these odd adventure games like, was it Hotel Dusk?
Well, Eastern Europe is churning out adventure games like there's no tomorrow.
Yeah, but it's Europe,
They're
and
cheap
they
to
don't
make.
count.
Yeah.
Go back to
you don't
playing
need to
soccer
have
games.
huge graphics to make them.
All right, moving on, because we've talked about not the topic.
Not the topic for a really long time.
Podcast about nothing.
Wow, that not the topic sure is fascinating.
Yeah, we were going to talk about difficult games, but pretty much it's all going to boil down to R-Type eventually.
All difficulty leads to R-Type.
The generic IRC answer to what game is this? Well, it's R-Type. So, moving on.
I heard Final Fantasy XI was really hard too.
Well, it's hard because you have to wait for it to install.
Well, there's that. Apparently, it's very, very unreasonably difficult to kill anything at level 1.
Yes.
You just die over and over and over and over again. And
That
it's
sounds like a great way to get new players.
yeah, I know. It was like, really.
And keep them.
And I thought it was exaggerating until one of the guys at work installed it. I'm like going, tell me if it's really that bad. And he's like going, so he goes and plays and he comes back on Monday and it's like, yeah, it's that bad. You just die. He's like, you know what? Never mind.
But you have to like form a party of level 1 adventurers to go kill a rat or something?
Something like that. It's just
No,
really
a termite.
apparently, it's just really stupid.
Wow.
So
All right. So, next up we have game reviews, and I will start with Puzzle Quest. Puzzle Quest is a game that's been getting some interesting.
It was Pimp by
pretty
PA,
underground.
which is about as big an underground hit, boost in popularity as you can get.
Yeah. So, Puzzle Quest is made by our good friends at D3, part of the Simple.
Nope, not actually made by D3.
No?
It is being published by D3. It's made by Infinite Interactive,
Ah.
a company that is based in, I think in the U.S.
See, you should have let me make my mistake so that Keegan could respond to it.
You're taking a job.
Yes.
Well, now Keegan will get to correct us on, where the company actually is.
You're saving Keegan time.
The actual
known
pattern
for
you
their,
need for Wizard and the Princess to get out.
Yeah.
Of the desert.
Now Keegan's going to lose his job, and we're going to have people, correct our gaming mistakes from India.
Yeah.
We're going to
From
It's
outsource.
going to get outsourced.
Outsourced copy editing.
So anyway, basically this is how Puzzle Quest works. So it's
There's these puzzles.
well, no, actually, it works a lot like Bejeweled. So you match, rows of colors. 3 makes it disappear.
Yep.
4, 4 makes it. 4 gives you an extra turn. But the colors actually add mana to your mana pool, I guess, for lack of a better term. And as you get more colored mana, you can cast spells that will allow you to, remove all of one color, give yourself an extra move, freeze the opponent for a turn, stuff like that. Which adds, an interesting element to gameplay, but it works on a turn basis. So you do your move or moves, depending on how you set up the board, and then your opponent does the moves, and there's these skull pieces on the board, and if you match the skull pieces, you actually take life away from your opponent. So you do your move, you remove, like 3 or 4 skulls, you take away X amount of points from your opponent and vice versa. So you want to set it up where you have enough mana to do your spells, and you can set it up to where you have the skulls set up so that your opponent can't necessarily get to them to the next turn, but say 2 or 3 turns down the road, you can set them up so that, you can take points. So there's actually some strategy involved in this.
There's a fair bit of strategy for it, yeah. And you don't really get to set things up in advance. It's more you're hoping for your opponent to make a mistake or to get a fortuitous drop or to use your spells well.
So there's a little bit of randomness in it.
Yeah, because the gems that drop down. And, the developer swears the AI doesn't cheat, and I believe in everything. But, man, it sure feels frustrating when the CPU does, one drop and chains together like 12 different combos, and you die in one turn.
I don't believe that. AIs always cheat to some degree.
Yeah, that's why they're AI.
Especially in PC RTSs. But we'll be getting to that next review.
But anyway, there are 2 versions of this game. There's one on the PSP and there's one on the DS, and Xbox Live version is coming out eventually.
And this is all based on a PC version that came out originally.
Well, no, the PC version is not yet out.
Oh, no, PC's coming out.
There's a demo for the PC version that you can get now. But since Infinite Interactive signed to publish with D3, we're assuming there's some exclusivity period where they're trying to get their sales out of the handheld versions before they can release the PC version.
Okay.
It's kind of unfortunate because, we got this totally polished demo. Looks done, but you can't buy it for the PC yet, probably because of some contractual agreements.
Yeah.
Which is really a shame because the PC version looks way, way better.
Yeah. Now, between the 2 versions, the DS and the PSP version looks a lot more polished, but it does have a huge bug in it. Well, it's not huge, but it's
huge. It's annoying.
It's an annoying bug in it. Also, there is some freezing in both versions, actually, where you'll make a match, and then the computer will have to think for a minute. It's like, oh, okay, I need to remove these. And that's in both the DS and the PSP.
Sounds like more like a load issue.
It's not really a
buffering
load issue,
maybe.
Yeah.
It's not buffering correctly.
I remember hearing about that one for the PSP when they needed to do special effects or load a voice sample for the first time. Though most people were saying it happened once, and then for the rest of their game it was fine.
Yeah, well, the DS version does that too.
Huh.
Well,
But not as, it's not as bad as the PSP.
So it's just
but there's
inherent
still
to the game.
There's like, that, quarter of a second of just it's thinking. And then it
sounds pretty unfortunate. And there's the whole thing that I guess both of the
like
DS and
thing,
the PSP ports were actually done by different developers.
Yes. So the DS version doesn't look as polished, but I would say that the DS version is easier to control with the stylus because it's a lot easier to actually choose spells and other things like that. Because all you have to do is just point it and go, okay, this is the spell I want to use.
Yeah.
I've heard there's a fair number of complaints, though, with the DS one for people who have trouble selecting the gems correctly. and it can be really bad because if you misclick, you lose your turn and 5 life. So anything that goes wrong there is really frustrating.
I personally have not had any issue with it, but that's just me.
Yeah, the forum tip for anybody who's listening is apparently to tap on the gems instead of trying to drag them.
Yeah, which is what I do. But other than that, both versions of the game, I mean, they're really good. I mean, I owned both versions, then decided on the version that I wanted, and then got my money back.
Still haven't even touched on all the strategy game aspects.
Yeah, there's a lot to it, too. I mean, a hell of a lot to the game. But I promised that I would keep my review short.
Oh, buy the game.
Yeah, well.
Very cool, underground.
Yeah, it's a $29.99 game. I would say it's worth $24.
Well, I got a good deal because I got mine for $23 shipped through the forums.
Wow.
Woo!
The MSRP is $29, but it's worth $24.
I'm totally looking forward to the PC version or the Xbox Live Arcade one. This is a game I would easily pay $50 for. I played that demo for like a week, and I thought it was just great fun. Totally enthralled by it. It was one of the best new ideas.
This is the reviews I was reading, too, said it was just so addictive. It was so much fun to keep playing.
Yeah. So, Brian, you have a review for us for a huge RTS?
Oh,
Huge.
Somewhat huge.
Huge.
Somewhat huge. I picked up Command & Conquer 3 Tiberium Wars a couple weeks ago.
Can you do the review with your best Kane impression? That'd be pretty cool.
The nod will take you over slowly, easily. Picture Steve, because nod is Kane is bald rather, but
and so is Steve.
Thus the connection.
That kind of scruffy thing going on here. Kane doesn't always,
Plus-
shave very well. So
Plus,
Actually, he was pretty well shaven in this one, but
I remember he was kind of goatee-ish or Van Dyke-ish.
yeah, that was in the last couple of ones he was. But at CNC, what can I say?
He took over a Gillette factory.
Yeah. I liked it so much I bought the company.
I liked it so much I took over the company
by
force.
and now they produce soldiers.
That's what they
well-shaven soldiers.
Shaven units ready.
That's that triple blade action. It's triple
Tiberium blades.
The first blade lifts the Tiberium, the second one cuts it.
And the third polishes it.
This
Polishes the Tiberium
for
stump.
Sorlak.
Yeah.
The man who got, what did he got? He did like the Command and Conquer 2 World Series or whatever, and he got like 58th out of the world or something like that.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, he's got a neat little like thing and everything, like a little
Plaque or a wall, or
like a little plaque, like award thing that said you're number 58 out of like 10,000 or something like that. So, yeah.
Anyways,
Kind of played it obsessively.
Command & Conquer 3 just came out. Very cool. Still a very great game. Amazingly enough, just built on a higher-tuned version of the same engine they used for Red Alert. Or not Red Alert, I think Command & Conquer Generals, rather. Still a great system, has no problems whatsoever. I mean, I had a little bit of slowdown today on my system. I've got a pretty high-end system, but there were so many units on the screen at one time. The computer, I don't think any computer out there could do it easily. But that aside, I think it's a great game. It is typical of Command & Conquer, every Command & Conquer you've ever played, in that you pick a force, you build units, and there's 2 or 3 forces, generally 3, that allow you to fight as, and the campaigns are always pretty creative. One of the cool things about this game is it's campy. They actually go out, hire real actors, and in the case of this game, they actually hired real reporters and get them to do cutscenes. And it's every time you complete a mission, something else happens, and you get another cutscene. And it's either your commander telling you you've done something well, or but we need you to do this, or a reporter reporting in that something was destroyed in another part of the country, and only the GDI can save it. And it's just such a neat game. The game is a basic RTS. It allows you to build massive amounts of units, ground troops, aerial units. You go out and conquer other areas. In this case, you're trying to conquer Tiberium because you're trying to... Tiberium is the power source. Tiberium apparently fell to Earth at some point through a meteorite or something. and it started growing, and it grew all over the planet, and you're harvesting it to use it as a power source, but at the same time it's also destroying the earth, so you're kind of a dual purpose of harvesting it to protect your areas, but in harvesting it you're also fighting another enemy, which is this cult, the Nod. They're harvesting it and trying to take over the planet at the same time because they don't believe in democracy, and they think the man is holding them down, you know.
They don't believe in freedom? That's un-American.
But there's also, and of course, just like most good RTSs, you bring a third enemy into the game by setting off this weapon that causes the Tiberium to explode in one area, and it sets off some sort of signal that brings these aliens in. And now there's this whole third race, but it's true Command and Conquer style. I've never gotten bored by the Command and Conquer games. I've always enjoyed them. They've always been hard to a degree, and this game is not short on hardness either. It's definitely a hard game, but it's got some hard levels. But you can master it, you can beat it, and it's fun. It's a fun game to play, especially in multiplayer. I've really enjoyed the multiplayer.
So people who have not played a lot of RTSs like myself, because I don't particularly
have
care
you
for
ever
the genre.
played an RTS game?
Well, there was, Herzog's Vi a long time ago.
That's not really an RTS.
Oh, I played Dune.
Anyways.
That's a fragment. That's not a sentence.
Monkeys, anyways. Monkeys, anybody? Definitely not a game for everyone. Definitely a game for the seasoned veteran, especially with those that enjoyed prior Command and Conquers. I would also say that it's a pretty game, but it requires a good amount of memory. Definitely 756 or above as far as RAM goes. A gig if you can do it. A gig is pretty much standard anymore, especially for most of these higher end RTSs. But I spent $39.99 on the game. I got lucky. Circuit City had a sale on it, and it was a $49.99 title to start, but $39 was a perfect price for it. That's generally what I'm willing to spend for a good RTS, especially ones that I've played before and enjoyed long before. And you get so many hours of play out of this, not just in the single-player campaign, but you have multiple campaigns you can play, and then you go in and play multiplayer with friends online, which I do, and definitely a fun game. Easy to get into, easy to play, but a little bit hard. So not one to start off with, but a good one to play down the road maybe.
So so it is worth the full $39?
I would say on most of these RTSs, I wouldn't always say that, but $30 to $40 is a good area. $49 is really hard to sell me on. But you give a lot of these games a month, sometimes even a couple of weeks after they come out, and somebody like Circuit City or Best Buy will sell them cheaper. They'll cut the price to try and push more of them out initially, and it's a good time to jump on it.
Okay.
So I was playing the 360 demo for this one, and I was impressed with how well the controls worked.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
It seems like it's taken them a long time to figure out how to really control an RTS effectively without a mouse, but now both the Lord of the Rings game and CNC3, which I guess were both done on the same control scheme and same engine, they really work.
Things are coming out better on the 360 lately, I've noticed. I mean, I was sold on Gears of War, and I don't like FPSs on consoles, but that was just such a well-done control setup that I was able to adapt to it and do it well, and I've enjoyed it because of that reason. So I'm believing more lately in the ability of the 360 for those games than I probably ever would have given it credit for before.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I did like the fact I could download the 20-minute when you buy this game, you can buy the regular version for $49 or for $59. You get an upgraded version that has a couple extra maps, some behind-the-scenes stuff, 20-minute footage of talking to the actors.
Their collector's edition.
Yeah, it's the collector's edition. But they had that same stuff available, that same 20-minute little thing where you could listen to the actors and talk to behind-the-scenes people on Xbox Live for free.
Oh, that's nifty. So you got to see it anyway.
I got to see it anyways. Especially I got to see it in high definition, too, which is kind of cool, too. So I was like, this is really nice.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's it for Diehard Gamer Radio. Anything else that we want to add before we...
Monkeys.
Yeah, I was going to say monkeys.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was really leaning towards chimpanzee, but monkey seems to be the general dynamic.
Orangutans are the best.
From chimpanzee to chimpanzee.
I think they have the best
Red baboon.
head-twisting ability, really.
The old man of the jungle is quite the interesting, smelly animal.
Kong.
Well, that is it for Diehard Gamer Radio.
Kong is coming.
Yeah.
Kong is coming.
join us again next time.
Thank you for listening to Diehard Gamer Radio. You can visit our website at diehardgamerradio.com and iTunes, or you can email us at diehardgamerradio@gmail.com.